Hi, this is Doug. I am a person in long-term recovery, and today I want to talk about how important spirituality is, how important spirituality is to me in my recovery process, and how important it is for me to continue to grow as a human being, as a person in long-term recovery, to stay in in recovery, to stay with having hope and not falling back into my disease of addiction, back into my mental health. A way to do that is being aware, and that's what spirituality is. I really believe that we're all human beings made up of mind, body, and spirit. A lot of us will treat our physical side by going to the gym, working out, and treat our mental side by reading or taking medicine or going to support groups or just. But a lot of us will leave that spiritual side unattended. And all that is awareness. Our spirituality is part of us as human beings, so we need to tap into it. For me, spirituality is all about relationship with a higher power, relationship with each other, my relationship with nature, with the universe, with people around me, the world around me. How am I relating to it? Am I relating to it in a hostile way? I used to. I used to look at it when I was still drinking and drugging, that the world was against me, and I was a rebellious. I don't know what I used to rebel against, but I kind of had a lot of resentments, life, and when the spirituality is tapping into that light that's in everybody, that light that lights our way, our higher power, however we want to look at it. I love how I've explored different avenues of spirituality, of meditation, uh, of practicing my spirituality. And one of the things that I really love is kind of the Eastern. I guess this comes from Eastern philosophy, but it's pretty universal. Is a namaste. Namaste is the God in me recognizes the God in you. And I've heard expanded on a little bit. The brokenness in me recognizes the brokenness in you. The pain that I have recognizes the pain you have. And when we tap into that together, we can start helping each other. And that's what spirituality is all about. It's about finding those parts of us, those assets that make us lean towards the positive and lean away from the negative. It makes us lean towards the parts of us that we really like, being kind people, being compassionate, being understanding, being honest, being open-minded to others. Those are things that I really like about me. And when I follow my spiritual path, I lean towards that. I make that part of what I do, and I let my spiritual path kind of illuminate itself by those things, by those spiritual principles, those basic spiritual principles that are are so much a part of us as human beings. And I think those were always a part of me, but I masked them for so long, behind my trauma, behind my pain, behind the things that I suffered with mental health, trauma, and I didn't want to connect with those because I was afraid if I connected with that, I would have to connect with the honesty of telling others and be vulnerable, open myself to being vulnerable to others. And it took me a long time to kind of move past that. And when we start growing, we start following a spiritual path. I get to define my spiritual path. I get to define what I believe in a higher power, what a higher power is. I believe in a higher power that I don't understand at all. And it changes. My concept of God has changed to different beliefs, different aspects of it. Sometimes it's just good orderly direction, putting one foot in front of the other, allowing others to support me. That could be good enough. That can be good enough for to follow that path of that. And it'll change to where I look up at the sky on a cloudy day or a sunshine day, and I'll see something in the sky that'll inspire me, and I'll change my belief a little bit. I'll see I'll see that there's universal good. There is universal good. And these times that we live in, it's hard to recognize that. It's hard to see it, but there is. Because if we see it and we illuminate it ourselves, we illuminate it within ourselves, and we start living those spiritual principles, then it's there because we're living it, we're doing it. We're walking that spiritual path. We're trying to live ourselves into a better way of thinking. Because I can't think myself in a better way of living. I think myself and can't get out of a wet paper bag. I'll think myself into a lot of trouble. I've done that before, a lot. My thinking can be, if I sit around and think too long, sometimes my mental health will start to deteriorate because I'll think too much about self-centered things. And that's really one of the things that's so important about spirituality is to move from that self-centeredness to God-centered, universe-centered, other people-centered, however you want to look at it. We bring something else in besides just concentrating on me. That's a spiritual walk, you know. And I encourage anybody watching this video to start looking at that. What do what's your relationship with nature? What's your relationship with people around you? What's your relationship with the universe, the sky, the moon, the stars? And when we start looking at that, looking at a bright, clear night, what am I relating to that beautiful sky? How am I relating to that full moon? Am I feeling that? It's the full moon affects the tides and it affects us human beings. We feel it. That's why full moons are, some people kind of get, you ask someone who works in an emergency room, full moons will do that, but we can also use it for good. Full moons affect us. We can become even more. That's why some people practice spirituality on full moons, practice certain practices because they're able to feel that enlightenment. And that's really what it is awakening, awakening to that awareness. I asked somebody one time, it's a real kind of one of my spiritual advisors, and I said, "What is spirituality to you?" And he says, "Just pay attention." I said, "I am," but he's like, "No, that's what spirituality is. Pay attention, be aware, be aware, and pay attention to what's going on around you instead of paying attention to what is in here." But more I pay attention to what's in here, the more jumbled up those thoughts get, the more pain I start feeling for my own humanness. That's really what it is. You know, it's our humanness that, a lot of us will say it's my mental health, it's my substance use. It's just my humanness. Because see, we're all human beings. We're all spiritual beings that are trying to learn how to be human. We start as spiritual beings. When we start as a child, we start out that innocence of a child. And then life kind of gets piled on us and we start losing that connection. We start losing that spirit. And the more it piles on us, the more we feel broken and lost and afraid. We move from that fear to looking up, looking around. How can I help? That's that's a huge part of my spiritual journey. Is instead of looking at my own thoughts, looking at me for trying to find a solution within me, I find a solution with others. I find a solution with a loving God who I allow to lead me, to guide me, to show me how to live, show me what I need to do next. Let my higher power illuminate my path as I go along. My job is only to live by these principles. In 12-step recovery, we have principles that are behind each step, and it kind of helps us have a little roadmap so we can start living these principles, and there's so many other spiritual principles that we start learning to live by starting to live those 12 spiritual principles, you know. And when we start doing that, we become the person we're supposed to be. And it's a process, you know. I struggle, I struggle back and forth with having, you know, going back to that. I'm going to try to think myself in the better way of living thing, and instead of realize I just need to walk this path. I need to keep walking this spiritual path and letting my higher power guide me, let others help me, redefining some of my relationships with people, with places, with my nature, with the world, and looking at how do I fit in this, and how do I do the most good I can possibly do? Because that's what I really want. I think most human beings have that in them to want to do the best good. The problem is life gets piled on us. We lose the hope. And it's our job to help others find hope. It's a job to help others find that spirit within them. And it's in us. That little light that can guide us. Our higher power will help us keep that light alive if we ask. You know, I seek through prayer and meditation, you know, to keep that light alive. So anybody watching this video, you've got a light in you. Let others support you. Look to the light, and there is hope. That's all I got.